Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of New Music Finds, where I gather everything up that I've purchased over the past week, present it to you guys, give you a little bit of background on it. And for this week, I don't really have a lot. Normally, I got 10, 15, 20 items, and it's not something I'm trying to do, but hey, there's also some weeks that I don't have a whole lot. I've only got 5 items this week, so not a lot, but still cool nonetheless. We're going to dive into it here in just a bit. Before we do, if we can talk just a little bit about leaving comments, likes, subscribing, all those things do help to support the channel. I'd greatly appreciate if you do those things. Thank you. All right, so let's get into this here. And I always like to kick off with new releases. So one of the ones that I picked up, I've actually got a number of new releases on order, but they didn't come in. So I'm waiting on those things. You'll see them in weeks coming ahead. But one that did come in was the brand new Better Than Ezra album. Do you remember these guys back from the early 90s? They've been away for a while. Their last album was 2014. So a decade we were waiting for this album here. It's called Super Magic. And it does sound like Better Than Ezra. It's got a little bit of that in there. I hear that when it is. And you know, and if I was listening to all their albums back to back, you could probably hear the progression. But it doesn't sound like the Better Than Ezra from the 90s. The album Deluxe, which was their big album, had the song Good, and I forget the other big ones that were on there, but great stuff. I absolutely love that. The follow-up album, I liked a couple of the tracks that were on there, but it was nowhere near as good. And then they kind of went down this whole other path of other styles of music and all. They seem to have returned to the more straight-ahead sort of alternative rock sound of those first 2 albums, but maybe not produced as well as it is, but still. So if you're just looking for something that sounds like Better Than Ezra, something that's new, this is good. I do recommend it. I like it. It hit or connected with me right when I was hearing it. So I have been enjoying this. This would be worth checking out. Nobody ever comments on this. I get like one comment here randomly there or not, but and I know this isn't a typical musical thing in the genres that I listen to or talk about on the channel, whether it be a classic rock, an 80s band, a metal band, thrash, or glam metal, you know, all those kind of things. This is something really outside of that wheelhouse, but I want to talk about it either way, and it's new stuff here. John Carpenter. Now, most people know John Carpenter from his movies. Halloween, Fog, The Thing, They Live, lots and lots of 80s movies that this guy did. And for those, he not only usually would write, direct, but also would write the score and the theme music to it. So he was known as a composer. And those themes, especially movies like Halloween, that is such an iconic sound written on a keyboard. And he did that for a lot of them. The Escape from New York with Kurt Russell in that was one of his movies, and those themes are really iconic and burned into our brains, at least those of us that grew up in the 80s. So I love that sound. And then bands had spawned based on that and other people that were doing this first, the sort of synth pop, synth laden stuff. And now he's actually out doing his own. So instead of doing music scores and themes, which he did just do the Halloween trilogy of movies. He also did those. He didn't write, direct them. Somebody else did those, but he did do those scores. So he's still out there doing that. But now he's making original music that isn't related to movies. This is the 4th album of it, simply called Lost Themes Number 4, Noir. And it does very much have that whole noir feel to it. And I don't even kind of know how to describe it, but like when I listen to it, it's like, oh, I could totally picture that being from a movie that is that way and shot that way. It's all instrumental, it's synth-laden stuff. He's got these 2 other guys, drummer, guitar player, and I think the guitar player might play the bass on it. But I love it. It's John Carpenter. It is killer synth-laden music. If you are a fan of 80s synth-laden stuff, check this out. Maybe not this specific one. Check out, my favorite is Lost Themes Number 2. Number 3 is also awesome. 4 is a little different than all that sort of stuff, but I can't sing the praises enough on that. I know I talked a long time on that one, but I think it was worth it. So, all right, I'm gonna show you guys the vinyl. Now, last week I posted a video of record store day leftovers, and I even mentioned that this was gonna probably be one that I would go home with, which it was. And I actually didn't pick it up that day. It was one of those ones I've been debating on it. I know that this came out as a deluxe edition on the new album with a bonus CD that has this show, Live at Racket. 7 songs. They performed it as, it was a secret show because nobody knew the band was going to come out and do it, but it was for the album release party. And Lady Gaga was there. She performed on Sweet Sounds of Heaven, which she sings on the album, and they've made a video for and everything. I don't want it as a bonus disc. I want it as a standalone album. I like the artwork. It's a standalone piece. I didn't really want to pay the $29.98 that it costs for 7 songs mainly because they said this is a record store day first, which means it's supposed to get a wider release later on. But I haven't heard any talk of anything. So I'm wondering, they already released the CD as a bonus track. They've now released this. This might get a release later on just in vinyl format, wider for the world. But maybe this is it. So this was limited edition. This is a white vinyl edition. And I said, you know what? I've got to have it. I really want it, and I don't want to miss out on it. So I went ahead and I picked it up. So add some more Rolling Stones to the collection. All right, the last 2 items that I got here, I've got stories around them, but they are not really related to anything here. So during my What Just Dropped video, I showed you guys a brand new box set from I think she's still with them, Go-Go's frontwoman, Belinda Carlisle. And it's called Cornucopia, and it's got B-sides and rarities and unreleased recordings and non-album A-sides. So that really piqued my interest. I love that kind of content. Anything that is rare, anything that didn't come out on albums, it's the bonus material. I want that. So I wasn't expecting that. That was just one of the things that I found putting that video together for you guys. And I find something almost every week. Not every week, but almost every week. And I found that and I placed it on order through importcds.com. And they're shipping it to me. They do a great job with packaging, so I never get anything damaged from them. And hope I didn't just jinx myself with this box set, but I trust them to send the box set protected and for me to get it and have a slew of Belinda Carlisle really unreleased stuff. I mean, even if it was a single A-side, it's not available anymore. So now I can get it. Anyway, very, very excited about that. But I don't have that yet. What I decided to get was this. The Belinda Carlisle EP called Kismet. It just came. It's still sealed. But I'm filming the video before I go and I open this. So this came out in 2023. And I didn't pick it up at the time. I actually didn't really understand what it was. I knew it was from her. I listened to it. It kind of moved me, but not enough. And on the particular day of release, I think there was a bunch of other things coming out, so I didn't pick it up. But now that I'm getting this box set, I said to myself, wait a minute, she put out an EP. Let me go get that. And this had a 1-day delivery, so I was able to turn it right around and get it. And so what I found out about it is all 5 songs are written by Diane Warren. And Diane Warren wrote I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, the Aerosmith #1 hit that they had back in like 98, 99. But she's written for a lot of artists. I know she's written for Celine Dion. She has written for Meatloaf. I'm sure she's written for a lot of other rockers and people. It doesn't come to mind the way that Desmond Child's writing does. But for me, Diane Warren, Desmond Child, 2 greatest songwriters of 80s sounding style music that moves me no matter what. And the fact that I can get an entire album, EP, from Belinda Carlisle doing Diane Warren songs. These songs were written for Belinda Carlisle. So we're not getting covers. These are new songs she wrote for Belinda Carlisle. To me, that's really cool. So I'm super excited about that now. And the last thing I picked up is, I think the album came out in 85. And I have it on vinyl, but I've not seen it on CD. And when I last looked, at the time that I was buying the vinyl, it was not in print anymore. Well, it came back in print. Project P Planet Pink World. So this is Tony Carey. Tony Carey, the keyboardist that played with Rainbow, also did other stuff. He had solo albums. He had 2 albums under this. The first album is the one that's the more famous of them. But this one here, I think was a double album, double at least on LP. And it's got, I can't even read it because the artwork, unfortunately, is kind of blurry. This is the label Renaissance. They're okay in the reissues, but they're not great. They're not like some of the other ones. So you tend to get the artwork isn't as crisp as it could be. But hey, sometimes when you want it and it's the only way to get it, you get it. So anyways, I don't know. There's 20-some songs on this thing here. Really good, though. Definitely in the 80s synth keyboard style, but a bit proggy. And I just filmed a recent video with Pete Pardo discussing prog. What is it? Which bands are part of it? Which ones are maybe prog adjacent? Or maybe they're really just AOR and arena rock and other things. So in that mindset, I was all into the whole prog thing, and I saw this and I thought, I got to get this and add this to my collection. So, but on a side note, if you haven't gone over to Pete Pardo's Sea of Tranquility's channel to check that out, I've now filmed 2 videos in that series, and it's been going so well. Pete's talking about turning it into an actual series. So we already have a 3rd video lined up for that. We're going to talk about Angel, I think, Zahn. We're talking about some deep cut prog bands, Trillion. And we're going to really get in and break it down and discuss it. I'm having a lot of fun doing that over on his channel. And so I invite you guys all to come over and check that out. I think I have filmed 4, maybe going on 5 videos for his channel. And I hope this one does turn into a series. You'll see me a lot more over there. It's always a fun doing it. Scott's on it. Grant is on it. So sorry for spending so much time at the end of this video talking about it. But what I'm doing and what's going on with me and what I'm listening to, and then I do my music news roundups and I do the what just drops, those things affect what I buy. And that's where a lot of the stories and things come from. And again, I just wanted to share that all with you. So, hey, only 5 items, but 5 killer items in my opinion. It doesn't matter the quantity, it matters what it is. And I'm sure you guys got yourself some cool things, so certainly let me know what you picked up this past week. But for me, that's it. On to other things, and we'll see where we're going for the following week, whether we get back up into the bigger numbers or we don't. You know, you never know. When I don't have a lot to listen to like like this, it just gives me that time to dive into the rest of this stuff that's here, and I've been doing that. Digging into Saga, digging into Star Castle. I've been pulling out Zahn and Trillion because I'm getting ready for this new video. Chicago. Can't even think of some of the other ones that I pulled out. Doing a lot of Ringo Starr too lately. But I'm kind of been all over the place in the things that I've been listening to. But for whatever reason, they're really just sparking with me. And it'd be like, you know, if there was more stuff by some of those bands, I'd be ordering that, but I already own everything. So that's why I get off in these little tangents and maybe buy these, you know, one-off things like this. This is the one thing I didn't own by her. And it happened to be a newer thing, and now I do. And this is the one Rolling Stones item that I didn't own, so now I do, right? Filling in the voids on a lot of these things, and that's always a lot of fun for music collecting and kind of, again, how it is that I think about music when I'm out doing it. But let me know what you guys got. Hope you have a great one, and I'll be talking to you real soon. Bye-bye, everyone.